In a world shaken by trade wars and geopolitical tensions, two of Asia's giants, India and China, are rewriting the rules of global diplomacy. On August 31, 2025, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping met in Tianjin, China, during the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit. Their talks, set against the backdrop of US President Donald Trump's punishing 50% tariffs on Indian and Chinese goods, marked a pivotal moment in their efforts to reset a historically strained relationship. But what exactly did they discuss, and why does it matter? Let's dive into the details of this historic meeting. This was no ordinary meeting. It was Modi's first visit to China in 7 years, a significant step after years of frosty ties following a deadly border clash in 2020 that left 20 Indian and 4 Chinese soldiers dead in the Galwan Valley. The Tianjin summit came just days after Trump doubled tariffs on Indian exports to 50%, citing India's continued purchase of Russian oil as fueling Russia's war machine in Ukraine. China, too, faced steep US tariffs, making this a moment of shared economic pressure. As Modi and Xi sat across from each other, flanked by their officials, the world watched closely. Their goal? To find common ground in a fluid and chaotic global landscape, as she described it. To understand the stakes, let's rewind. In early August 2025, Trump imposed a 25% tariff on Indian goods, which he doubled to 50% on August 27, adding an extra 25% as a penalty for India's $36 billion in Russian oil imports. These tariffs hit India hard, threatening $60.2 billion of its $86.5 billion annual exports to the US, especially in textiles, jewelry, and seafood. India's foreign ministry called the move unfair, unjustified, and unreasonable, accusing the US of double standards, as countries like China and Turkey faced lesser or no penalties for similar oil purchases. Modi, feeling the sting of what some called economic blackmail, reportedly avoided 4 calls from Trump, signaling deep frustration. Meanwhile, India's domestic pressure was mounting. Modi, a leader known for his nationalist stance, vowed to protect Indian farmers, fishermen, and dairy workers, even at a heavy personal price. His supporters saw Trump's actions as a betrayal, especially after years of warming US-India ties to counter China. On the other side, China's economy was also reeling from Trump's tariffs, which threatened its export-driven growth. Both leaders saw an opportunity. By strengthening India-China ties, they could diversify trade, reduce reliance on the US, and stabilize their economies. This wasn't about abandoning the West, but about asserting strategic autonomy in a multipolar world. So, what did Modi and Xi actually talk about? According to India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri, their discussion was primarily bilateral, focusing on improving economic and commercial ties. While they were mindful of Trump's tariffs, the leaders didn't directly address them in public remarks. Instead, Xi emphasized that India and China, home to 2.8 billion people, should be partners, not rivals. He called for the dragon and elephant to unite, urging deeper mutual trust and opportunities for mutual development. Modi echoed this, stressing that their cooperation, rooted in mutual respect and trust, could benefit not just their nations but all of humanity. They agreed to expand trade, reduce India's trade deficit with China, and resume direct flights suspended since 2020. The SCO Summit wasn't just about India and China. Russian President Vladimir Putin was also there, adding another layer to the talks. India's purchase of Russian oil, a key issue behind Trump's tariffs, was likely a subtle undercurrent. Modi and Xi also discussed border management, building on an October 2024 agreement to de-escalate tensions along their disputed Himalayan border. They recognized that their economies, India's service sector and China's manufacturing prowess, could complement each other to counter Western economic pressure. The leaders also pushed for a multipolar world order, a jab at US dominance, with Xi calling for a stable and far-reaching relationship. The outcomes were tangible. Modi announced the resumption of direct flights, a symbolic step to normalize ties. Both sides agreed to hold further talks on border issues and boost investment, with China reopening pilgrimage sites in Tibet for Indians and easing visa restrictions. Analysts noted that Trump's tariffs accelerated this rapprochement, as India sought to diversify its trade partners. China, keen to showcase global South solidarity, saw India as a key ally to counter US containment efforts, especially through groups like the Quad. This wasn't a full reset. Historical mistrust and border disputes linger. But it was a pragmatic step forward. For India, this pivot wasn't just about China. Modi also visited Japan before Tianjin, signaling a broader strategy to diversify partnerships. Back home, he faced criticism from opposition leaders like Asaduddin Owaisi, who called Trump's tariffs bullying, and slammed Modi for not responding forcefully enough. Yet Modi's team fired back with an export drive targeting 40 countries, from the UK to South Korea, to offset US losses. For Xi, the summit was a chance to project China as a leader of the global South, especially as Trump's trade war alienated allies and rivals alike. The message was clear. India and China could reshape global trade flows together. As Modi and Xi shook hands in Tianjin, they sent a subtle but powerful signal to Washington. India and China have options. Their talks weren't just about surviving Trump's tariffs, but about building a new economic and strategic equilibrium. In a world of chaos, as she put it, these two giants are choosing cooperation over confrontation. But with deep-rooted mistrust and a volatile global stage, the road ahead is uncertain. One thing is certain: the dragon and the elephant are dancing, and the world is watching. Stay tuned for what comes next.